Hey folks, how are you all tonight? Yeah, it's pretty darn cold up here in Maine, I'll tell you what. Um, I can't wait for spring. Well, here we are back again on the old Piscataquis River. And we're going to start off right here in town. I haven't really hunted anything up and beyond here, all the way up in Guilford. So we're going to cover down here, and like I said, in the other video, if they take that dam out in Guilford, then a lot of this river is going to shrink up, and there's going to be a lot of open space to hunt. But I am going to try to scoot down as close as I can, and this might take a little bit longer than the other one because there's a lot more to look at. And I apologize that they're so tight and and close to each other, but yeah, there's just an amazing amount found down through here. All right, let's get at it. Okay, first thing I want to kind of point out is this building right here. That used to be the Opera House for Doverfoxcroft. When that caught on fire in the early 1900s, it had also set afire two other buildings that overhung the river here, and there's old foundations down here. One was a print shop, Barrows, and the other one was McNaughton's general store. I can't remember which one was next to each other. But when that burnt, everything from those two businesses got washed down here into the river. Two items that I am kind of, positive came out of there was this down here, an anchor, collar, and cuffs, advertisement brass piece, and a 3-pound partridge door knocker, solid brass. When the dams come out, again, we'll be able to get into this. This down in here is very deep. But I have hunted up here where the old rubble is from the building. When it got burnt down, they pushed a lot of it down into the river. And there's about a 20-foot pile of bricks with all kinds of stuff all through it. Yeah, found some print plates, a nice 1927 Standard Liberty that was up in there. Found a few buffalo nickels. But yeah, we'll kind of just move down through like we did the other day, and I'll stop at a few different spots and highlight anything that's kind of muted out. All right, and yeah, this is where I found one of the casket screws. Same scenario as up in Guilford. There's a cemetery upstream, and I believe that's the same thing. The edges of it get washed out because I found a few casket plaques down through this section. But, all right, you're going to see a lot of IHPs, Indian head pennies. An older gentleman that's been detecting this town far longer than I have told me back in the early 1900s, somebody had stole a bag of pennies and threw them off in this bridge. Now, when I go down through here, you're going to see a lot of IHBs. So that story could very well be true. And you'll see some silver coins in here too. Were those in there? Maybe. All right. In a lot of my videos, you're going to see me refer that I'm down behind Bob's. Bob's is this hardware store that sits right here. And I have access from one of these tenants right here, or the owner of this apartment building, to get down through here. And I also have access points down through this section of river from private owners. All right, we're going to zoom in. If I zoom in too close, it's going to bring me right down to floor level, and it won't look right. Yeah, a lot of different little things. Skeleton keys, bottle openers, pretty much almost everything. That was a pooping dog lead piece. A lot of buttons down in through here and a lot of buckles. And a good majority of this stuff down through here was eyeballed. A lot of sash buckles. These ledges up and through here have caught a lot, and every time it floods, it only has to get about 7 feet, and it covers up those ledges. So anything new can be brought up every year if we get the right levels of water moving down through. Let's see. The oldest things I found down in this area. One was a 1780s 1 liard. It was a cut coin. And I can't remember the age on that KG halfpenny. I couldn't get a date off from it. Found some railroad keys, a bunch of keys down through here, a bunch of IHPs. Fairly a good amount of silver down through here too. This whole side of the river here is one of the first places that gets kind of thawed out in the spring. The sun shines from the other side and melts this off pretty well. So a lot of times in the spring I try to get out and just get down in here, walk around. I guess, the oldest Canadian dime is an 1858, and I found one of them down there. That was kind of cool. And I found a lot of bag seals. You'll see it, MC bag seals or just bag seals, many of them in this river. Okay, we're going to continue down some more. Let me scoop through that real quick so it doesn't make you sick to your stomach. All right, just a bunch of this, that, and the other thing all through here. A bunch of print plates. These have been washed down through this whole section as well, and down beyond the next dam. I found print plates down there. This one here was a nice American workers or something. Nice little badge. It's only about the size of a quarter, but you could get just tiny details off in it. And like I said, when the dams come out too, that's going to make a lot of this available out here in the middle. And again, this whole area sets real low, so whenever we have any minor flooding up to major flooding, new things get deposited through here. Found 3 barber dimes, eyeball finds right in this area. World War II buckles. This here was a silver handle that Richie had found. It was a very nice decorative piece. Just going to kind of highlight through these. You'll see them pop up when I hover over them. They're so close together. A lot of this stuff in here was mostly eyeball finds. And there's so much metal, scrap metal up in this area that a metal detector is just about useless until you get down a little bit further where it spreads out. But right down on this whole section here is just covered with metal. Alright, let's move down some more. A lot of jewelry, keys, toys. The Warregan house room tag, that one's pretty cool. When Lincoln was on his campaign trip, he stayed at that house. It's down in Connecticut. I tried to get some information, and they didn't have the room that he actually stayed in. So, never know. Lead number 9, that's just a number 9 that's made out of lead. You'll see some different numbers up and through here as well. This one was a cool find. It was a Purple Heart. I had talked to a few people that actually dealt with Purple Hearts, and they told me where to look on the edge and on the back, and all identification that was there was pretty much worn off. Who knows how long it had been in the river. But yeah, it's a nice piece. I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I saved it at least. Yeah, and then there's just a various amount of different things down through here. This, like I said, this is kind of the first place I try to hit in the spring. All the way down through here. And I'm going to kind of scoot out a little bit so you can see what was on the other side of the river as we're going down through. It's a little bit more spread out down through here. It's deeper on this side. So, you know, you're kind of limited to how far you can get in. When we had a drought quite a few years ago, you were able to get out here probably almost 20 feet and only have it up to your knees. So, yeah, maybe when the dams come out, we'll have all that opportunity again to get out here. These red lines that are here, kind of in the right spot, but there is a major deep trough down through this section. And before they put the dams in back in the early 1800s, I believe that would have been what was the original river at the time. And then they flooded it out, which kind of just pushed them out onto these shelves a little bit. But like I said, when that comes out, I think this is pretty much what you'll have left for the river down in between here, which is sad. But there's no water, there's no room for salmon to get up and down it. So, yeah. All right, well, let's see. Yeah, we'll keep on going down. Found a few bells. If I find any bells on the shoreline, I still consider them river bells because they were probably in there and they got pushed up there. This was an interesting find. This is a Nazi cufflink. Now, it's an old cufflink. Whether or not it's Nazi or if it's old enough to stand for good luck, it's up in the air. I heard various different, people's remarks on what they think it is. And it was about 50-50. So, I mean, it's old enough that it could be the good luck. But we'll continue down here, and something else that might point out that could be maybe not good luck. Let's see. This here was a beautiful piece. It's a lamp piece that has Poseidon's face on it. And it has a double hook at the end that would have held 2 lanterns. Or a hat, I guess, or something else. Maybe a couple of cups. If it had been some other fixture, but I believe it's a lamp fixture. And, we found quite a few things up through here. And like I said, when it goes down, we'll be able to get further out and out. And I know there's stuff out here. This was the, it was a seal, basically. Dr. Samuel Clark had married a lady up here in Doverfoxcroft. But his office was down in Boston, Mass. So he never had a business up here, but somehow the seal found its way up here. I donated that to the Historical Society. Excuse me, I gotta take a drink because my mouth is getting dry. We'll scoot over here a little bit. You can look at that while I take a sip. Alright, that Nazi cufflink kind of makes me wonder if it, could have been a Nazi cufflink. I found a World War II Nazi infantry assault badge right down here. Could have been brought back by a soldier. We did have Germans that made it into Maine back at that time, so they might have been discarding stuff that they brought over. Who knows? Never find out the whole story. You know how it is. This here is an old little kind of a dump right up here. People had been throwing stuff down over the banks for years. and just various things, a lot of marbles. And we'll scoot over to this section. Yeah, I found a whole cache of bullets down in this section. I think it was 10 Civil War era bullets all in one spot. And a bunch of change. I found out why that got down there is a street pipe that goes all the way up here to Lincoln Street. And I believe all of the money that had been washed and swept into that pipe over the years had gotten pushed out through there. And, it was $6.10 all in that spot. And I did find a few other, modern clad that was down in there years after. Okay, we're going to go to both sides here. We'll continue on down. Worth a note here. Well, our friend Karen, she lives down in Florida. She comes up here to Maine every year. She had only been metal detecting for 3 months out of her life, and she found a U.S. buckle. Richie and I both were here that day when she found it. Beautiful piece of history, and I had covered this shore somewhat over the year prior to that, and just didn't come by it. And as you can see, it's very easy to be off, just a little bit and miss something. This river here is probably at least 250 feet wide. So, you miss it or you hit it. All right, we continue down. And we'll kind of out it just a little bit. All right. Yeah, we found a lot of bullets down in through here. Richie's hunting down in this area with me. Found a nice aluminum 1892 World's Fair token. Now, aluminum in rivers, they don't fare well if they've been there a long time. And that one, that's been there a long time. I found some newer ones, around 100 years, and those ones are in better condition. But, yeah. Continue down. Yeah, now this is where I found a couple casket plaques. This part of the river down here gets very shallow. And on shallow spots, you'll find things will get, pushed down and they'll kind of just linger in these areas. This side of the river down here is deeper, so, not as much. And this upper part is still considered the inside bend of the river. Hence why you're seeing a lot more stuff. This is probably one of the sadder pieces I'd found. It was a Our Babe plaque. It was just a tiny ribbon with a bird on it, metal. But that was a baby's casket plaque. And I found another one somewhere over here. Oh, right down here. Let me see. Oh, right over here. And it had like almost a silver plate coating on it. I cleaned that up well, and both of those pieces went to the Historical Society in town here. Whatever town I find them in is the ones that I'm going to be giving them to. And, a bunch of different little things up and through here. I got one of my cats trying to get my attention, but he's going to have to wait. Alright, now this place right over here, there's a lot of stuff right down in through here, and I found a couple, actually 3 pieces of silver, silver scissor handles. Hey, I'm live, this is me. I have problems with my speech sometimes. And we found, what else did I find? A burnt barber quarter, and also a burnt silver spoon. And what I'm thinking is one of these houses probably caught on fire a long time ago, and they pushed everything right down here into the water. I've never talked to these folks up here to see if they would allow me to hunt down on this lawn, but that would be great if I could. had a few different owners. People that live here and here come out to the edge and talk to me while I've been down through there. Those people have been pretty nice. One lady on this side of the river, just go with a Karen. How's that? She yells at me all the time when I'm down there saying that it's illegal for me to be in the river. She's an older lady, so I don't take it to heart, She's having a hard enough time with herself. And part of her garage is about to slip and fall into the river on this side. This side down on the bottom is very steep. And the land up here is just constantly degrading and moving. And her shed that's out there is going to be falling in the river at some point if they don't do something. But yeah, see what happens. All right, we'll go right up and through here. Yeah, and the bells, you're going to see different bell numbers everywhere. I don't hunt in the same spot every day all the time, so they're scattered throughout the river. And let's see, put it right about there. Yeah, found a lot of things up and along those shores. Our friend Kelly, he found a huge continental bell right down and around this point. Beautiful bell. And when we had the droughts back in 2021-22, you could actually walk across most of this river and not get your feet wet. You had to take selective, spots to get through, but you could cross this whole river. Yeah, and I found this silver spoon that was sticking right in the ledges when I went through it. A lot of different things will be caught up in through there. A lot down in this area. I got permission back when a friend's daughter owned this property, so I had permission to hunt down through there. Best find was this scythe, made from 1871 to 1901, out of Maine. It was made from a gentleman in western Maine. Okay, let's see, I think I'm going to hold it off there, folks, because there's a lot more to go through down here, and I think what we'll do is we'll just end up making probably a part 3. All right, and we'll catch you guys next weekend.